Hi, I'm Thomas Blug, and I'm here with BluGuitar, my own company, and we got some hot guitar products here. Of course, there's Amp1, which is this pedal amp. Of course, pedal is a very, very compact format. It's all analog, so you might get confused. Usually, you would expect something digital in this kind of format, but this is a 100-watt pure analog amp with a tube. So it has 100-watt pure tube tone power. 4 channels, so there's a clean channel, there's a vintage channel. Clean is kind of Fenderish, and the vintage channel is my favorite beloved GTM 45. And then there's a classic channel, which is again a British channel, more modern, more 80s. And then the fourth channel is called Modern, and it's kind of a, rectifier to angle, if you like. Um, I have the so-called custom controls on the side, which makes it able to fine-tune all these channels. There's an individual volume, so you can match the volume in between the channels and the sound. So each of the channels has a tone control. And I found, like Marshall, they had the old kind of tone stacks with the GTM sounds, and then the GCM sounds are different. So I wanted the 60 sound and the modern sound. So I had 2 separate tone stacks in the Amp1, and then I have a little tiny control here that blends between the 2 tone stacks. So it gives you more versatility. I'm a Strat guy. Some other guy likes to play the metal, whatever, ESPs or Les Pauls, whatever, and you need some different frequencies for different guitars. And I'm able to dial this in on the side. Um, well, the amp itself has all kind of features you would expect from a modern piece of equipment. There's an effects loop, serial parallel switch for the effects loop. There's a -10 plus 40B switch on the button. Um, it has a record out, so you can go straight into your PA system or use headphones with it. There's 2 separate speaker outs. One is 8 ohms and one is 16 ohms. So you have the full power of 100 watts to your cabinet. A foot switch for any standard foot switch, but you can also hook it up to our remote. Remote is this here. The remote gives you direct access to all the functionalities of Amp1. So you have the 4 separate channels here. You have the boost switch, you have the reverb switch, you have effects loop on off, you have a second master volume which you can dial in like full volume 1 to 1 down -10 dB. So you have like a rhythm volume here or there, and then your solo volume at 0 dB. So then there's also access via this remote one pedal to the built-in power soak. Since my unit is fully analog, I thought, with the history of amplifiers, we heard the greatest tones in history from the vintage guys, which they didn't have much preamp gain then. They just cranked the amp. And what we heard was the fantastic overdriven sound of overdriven power stage. So the power soak is already built into Amp1 and accessible via this remote. And it doesn't stop here. On the side, you see there's a little thing. You can hook up this thing called looper kit. It has a true bypass relay board. Let me see if I can take this off. Like here. So this is the board of the looper kit. You can see real relays, and this is the analog side. Very puristic, is nearly nothing, and the digital side. So the remote one is able to control 4 separate analog true bypass loops, and these loops can be stored with the presets. So your preset is actually more than just the setting of the amp. It's also the combination with any pedal effects you can use with the looper kit. So Amp1 can become a full system, and it's up to the user if he likes it just like this, like a 2-channel setup or multi-channel setup. So it's expandable. The other way to go is the MIDI option. So this is our MIDI 1 cable. It also goes on the same socket of the amp on the foot switch, and you have a MIDI in. And with the MIDI in, you have also direct access to all the parameters like gain, volume, master, channels, boost, blah, blah, blah. So that's the amp. So let's hear it. This, for example, is the vintage channel. It's maybe my favorite channel on the amp because it has all the sounds that I want. I can back the guitar up and make it clean. If I play like on 2 or 3, it's really clean. And then 3, 4, or 5, I have a nice crunch sound for rock and roll and blues. And then if I crank it, I'm back in the Hendrix mode. But it also has a clean channel. So let's hear the clean sound. And of course, it has more overdrive channels here. So let's go for the classic, which is like a high gain British amp. So this channel again is very touch sensitive and cleans up very nicely if you back up the volume here. And of course there's a modern channel, and all these channels can be fine-tuned. So I could, play endless sounds, but just give you impression, more gain, fatter sound. On this channel, I show you the custom control. So you get an impression of how it could sound like if you dial in these knobs here, okay? On the modern channel, because it's the most dramatic. So at the end, I had this little switch here too, which gives you access to the settings of the noise gate. So I was using the metal, uh, at the last tiny bit. Okay, so Amp1 is a full analog amp. I think it's a new format that many players will like. It's very handy. It's 1.2 kilograms. It comes with a gig bag or with a little bag that you can put into your big gig bag, so none of the controls will be changed while you transport it. And it has a magnetic fixing system, so you can put it on your pedal board for your gig rig, big gigging rig, and then you have maybe just a rehearsal and just bring this with your guitar gig bag. And what's new with BluGuitar this year is our new cabinets. So the small one here is what I call the NanoCab, because it's the smallest 1 by 12 cabinet I have seen so far. And the way we designed it was very easy. I took a 12-inch speaker, which is actually here, and built a housing for it. And then I was tuning the back wall by moving and then just hearing, and decided, well, this is the place where I like it best, put a mark in there. And my live engineer, who is also a cabinet designer, I asked him to do the same, and finally we looked at the mark and it was exactly the same. So this was the starting point. And the next thing is how to get more bass out of a little box like that. So we experimented with a few kind of bass reflex systems, ports here. So we ended up with a double ported system. And we also designed our own speaker. The speaker is very important. I love Celestion speakers. I'm a big Greenback fan, which I played many years myself because of the fine texture of the mid and the highs. But the power is not what I would offer to, you know, regular people, because they want to do a lot of different things with it. So I was looking for a speaker, and I finally ended up designing my own speaker, which is this. Okay, so this is a speaker, a BluGuitar speaker, and it has a fat magnet, but it has the classic design of a real classic guitar speaker. So, classic tone comes from classic components, just a bit more power handling and a bit more tight in the low end, and this is what I wanted. So here's our custom speaker. And with our NanoCab, we have a little thing on the back which you can open. Maybe I show you later. Uh, there's the option to open the back with a hole like this, so the bass will change. The portation system will be different, and you also have some sound coming out of the back, which is more open back. It's not really open back, but if I would make it more open, it will lose something. So it has to be compromised. But you can have it closed for rock and open for blues. So this was the intention of that. And under this cabinet, we have another cabinet. As you can see, it's a bit bigger. And this cabinet I played already for the last 5 years myself. When any gig you might have seen me in Europe or Germany, I played this cabinet. And this was my attempt to get a 4x12 sound in a 1x12 format. And I started up with a famous MESSE Thiele small cabinet, which is very popular. Putting in my own speakers or Celestion speakers, experimented there. And then over the years, I took this design and changed it, made it bigger, made it deeper, and found a way how to make it even more realistically sounding like a 4x12. Physics you cannot cheat, so it will not be a 4x12. But I was fed up lugging around 4x12 cabinets. I'm living on the second floor, and it's no fun anymore. So I wanted still the bass punch and this big fat tone, but in a different format. And this is what we've got here with we call it FatCab. Okay, and both cabinets use a grill cloth, which is a basket weave. You know, the old school, like in the 60s, Marshall cabinets being used. Um, and of course, this is ported with this Tele Small kind of thing. This one is double ported. Um, yeah, maybe I could give you a little sound example. Okay, so I guess you get an impression of this cabinet too. Um, well, I'm very happy about both cabinets. The bigger one, the FatCab, already been using for the last 5 years. I know it works on stages. On a very big lower live festival, when I was playing with another guitar player having two 4x12s, I decided to have two of my cabinets, okay? But I can actually do it without a 4x12. And most of the club gigs, this is way too loud anyhow, you know? So the NanoCab, I guess, is the thing that is very it's very handy. It sounds good, and we have a drum here in this room, and I played with the band with this cabinet, and it's killer. I can put it in my suitcase. I've been to a NAMM show with this cabinet inside the suitcase, some amps of mine on top, and some socks. Off we go to America, and yeah, you can put this on the train. I was playing in Paris, so yeah, took this, the amp in the gig bag, and the cabinet, and off we go. And also, it's amazing that you can really gig with a cabinet of that size. This was my dream, which actually came true. So I'm very happy about the NanoCab, and of course with the FatCab, since I played this for many, many years. So thanks for watching me here. BluGuitar Amp1, NanoCab, FatCab. All the best. Cheers. Bye.